Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, here to cover some Battlefield 6 updates once again in this video. This story got a little bit of traction, and I just think it's so funny. Given following PC gaming for a while, and if you remember back in 2011 when Battlefield 3 was coming out and EA was migrating to their own platform and Origin becoming a platform that they were really high on, and so many other publishers went in that direction of creating their own platforms to sell their games, and Battlefield 6 obviously had a release on EA's own app, but now seeing that it was a little bit of a disaster on the EA app and how far we've come since 2011, where Vince Zampella, who's the head of Battlefield 6, is telling people to refund the game on the EA app and buy it on Steam. I just think that's absolutely hilarious. We'll talk that. And also, speaking of issues with the EA app, EA is issuing free premium Battlefield 6 season passes to people that did have issues. And you might be wondering, why would anybody buy this game on the EA app in the first place? Maybe they've had all of the other Battlefield games on the EA app and they just wanted to keep it all in the same place. Maybe it was offered to them with a graphics card, something to that effect, or, there could be a myriad. Look, if the game is being sold on a platform, it should be working on said platform. So we'll talk about that as well. But Vince Zampella, this was a few days ago. I've yelled about EA app people. Any suggestions on next levels of escalation? And someone responded, any news on this yet? Man, this is unacceptable. Nearly 5 hours post-launch, Vince Zampella said, can you refund and buy it on Steam? Again, Vince wasn't involved in what happened with Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 3 being an Origin exclusive, but if you were around in 2011, that was a big story. When Battlefield 3 was not going to be released on Steam, EA was creating their own client, their own platform, and it really felt like, hey, EA is going to try to take it to Steam and become a competitor, an alternative, and my oh my, how things have changed over the course of the last 14 years. Now, eight years after the initial departure, yes, it was 2019 where Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order came out on Steam day one, and then you began to realize, EA Origin, EA app, whatever it was called at that point, probably not something that EA is going to be super invested in for the foreseeable future in the terms of keeping their games exclusive and so on and so forth. But now we have done a complete 180 since 2011, where people are literally being told to refund their copy of Battlefield 6 on the EA app and then buy it on Steam, which is a little insane to me, but again, it has been 14 years since that initial process of creating Origin and then making the EA app trying to make it something as a viable competitor and alternative. Dragon Age 2, by the way, that was a game that came out on Steam, and then it actually got pulled from Steam so they could make it a Origin exclusive. Like, the game came out, and then it was out for, I want to say, a month or two, and then it got pulled from sale on Steam and then made into an Origin exclusive only. Now Dragon Age 2 is back on Steam, of course. They've put their entire back catalog of games on Steam, but kind of crazy how it shifted over the last few years. And you've just seen this story play out with so many different publishers. Epic Game Store, obviously the biggest, I would say, as far as the backing that they have and what they're trying to do. They tried with timed exclusives, and they're gonna get Lords of the Fallen 2 as a timed exclusive as well next year, but it's just like, I don't know if that's the right way to battle Steam, to keep your games on a different platform. At the end of the day, there are so many options in terms of games to play that sometimes not being on the platform of your choice, you're just going to end up playing something else altogether because there's a lot of great options out there. And now, again, the story has shifted so much where somebody from EA is literally telling people, hey, refund the game on the EA app and then buy it on Steam. We don't need the 30%. We'll give that to Valve. We just want the game to be working. And honestly, that's what they should care about, especially with a game like Battlefield 6. And if you understand how the game has shifted, well, for the most part, a live service game, you really need to get as many people playing the game as humanly possible. And I think if Battlefield 6 dropped exclusively on the EA app, would it do well? It probably would do okay. It probably would do decently enough. But I think limiting your potential player base is not a good route. That's why I look at a lot of the gacha games and a lot of the live service games when they don't have Steam releases right away. I'm sure they have their own reasoning, giving up the microtransaction revenue to Valve and giving up some of that percentage of revenue probably isn't ideal, but in terms of exposure and having as many people playing a game as possible, I do think it's the best route to go. It's just kind of crazy to see how much this story has shifted in terms of platforms trying to come up and be competitors to Steam, and I think GOG is the only one that's really done a great job because GOG has an identity. EA Origin, the Bethesda launcher, all of those different launchers, even the Epic Game Store, none of these launchers have an identity. What does separate those launchers from Steam? What do they offer? What are they trying to go for that's different from Steam? And I can't point you, like, giving away free games like the Epic Game Store, that's not building an identity because you can't create a business model that is established on giving away games for free. That's not something that's sustainable and viable, and the quality of games that are given away, it's not gonna be sustainable at a high level, and ultimately the name of the game is to make money. GOG actually has an identity where the model is designed around game preservation and game ownership and preserving a lot of these games. So not to go on a tangent, but yeah, just kind of wild to see how much that story has changed over the last decade plus. Lastly, I do want to note EA is issuing out free premium Battlefield 6 season passes to EA app pre-orders frozen out of the game. It's only lasted for a couple of hours. The Battlefield 6 Twitter account did put out a statement. Today we experienced an outage on the EA app that prevented some of our players who pre-ordered Battlefield 6 from accessing the game, and we know this can be frustrating, so we wanted to offer an apology with perks. The fix has been rolled out, but we aren't done. Anyone on the EA app who was impacted will receive 12 hardware and 12 career 60-minute boosters, which should be arriving in impacted players' in-game boxes in the next weekend. In addition, we will also be granting impacted players full access to a seasonal battle pass. If impacted players purchase the Phantom Edition, we will be granting them access to Season 2's full battle pass. We want to apologize again for this outage. So that has been rolled out for those that are impacted. I'm sure most of you guys watching my channel that are playing the game probably ended up buying it on Steam, but again, this tweet from Battlefield's official Twitter account has 13,000 likes and 1.7 million views. I'm not saying all of those people bought the game on EA, but there was certainly a number of people that bought the game on EA's client. You're talking about people that also have the other Battlefield games, and again, there's going to be a lot of people that just want to keep everything on the same platform, and, you know, I don't think it's an insignificant number. Is it insignificant relative to the Steam numbers? Probably not that either. I mean, if it's 10% of Steam's number, that's still if it's 5% of Steam's number, that's still a significant amount of people that are potentially impacted. So I think overall, they needed to do something to fix things up and, you know, offer something to benefit players impacted. But I just think going back to the story of that tweet, I think just says so much in terms of how things have shifted in the PC gaming marketplace. And ultimately, it's a better place when Steam does have a viable alternative, but I think going about how you create an alternative, yes, having quality games definitely will draw people in, but if the platform itself doesn't have an identity, I think overall it's not going to be lasting. And you look at how all of these other publishers, ultimately the Ubisofts, the EAs, the Activisions, they all tried. Call of Duty was on Battle.net for a couple of outings there, where it wasn't coming to Steam. If Call of Duty has to ultimately come back to Steam, what is that saying? Battlefield, these juggernaut IPs, and even Grand Theft Auto with the Rockstar launcher. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. How are you enjoying your time with Battlefield 6? I've had a lot of friends jump into it on the hype, and they really didn't know what they're getting themselves into, and had a couple buddies refund the game as well, because it wasn't their cup of tea, but I think that was more so them not knowing what Battlefield's all about. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate it if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.